Greetings. Got an LGR blurb for you here about the Roland MT-32, a rather familiar device to many retro PC gaming music enthusiasts. But this is also kind of an unfamiliar thing at the same time, because this is the Roland MT-32 rack mount edition. I'm not even entirely sure what you'd call this. A rack mount panel. I guess it was available in a kit, but it would also seem to be something that was just sold like this. Like you could order it from Roland in rack mount form. And it really is just like an MT-32 that's been jammed into a 19-inch wide, 2U tall rack mount module. Like it's a full case replacement effectively. But, internally it's just an MT-32. And then it screws in on the bottom here, and like some of the feet have been removed. In fact, this one's gone through the ringer. I don't know what happened to the metal here. Has just been all banged up. Who knows, whatever. But yeah, look at that. It's just an MT-32 that's been stuck in a 2U rack mount thing. It's so weird, and yet it was an official product from Roland. I wish I had more specifics in terms of availability and cost and such, but I haven't really been able to find much. Just the fact that, hey, it existed, and there are a handful of them out there, and I managed to find one recently, so here it is. Another thing that's kind of interesting is, look at this. So the front of it is actually just vertically flat on the front. It's not slanted backwards like the normal MT-32. Let me get one of those. So, yeah, look at that. Normally there's this slant going on. So what they've done is you take this entire top part of the case off of there, and you can see, it comes off. It's just like a full outer housing. And this front panel detaches as well if you take the screws off. So they just took that and put it up against the panel in the front of the rack mount thing and made it work. And that's what this is. Which is just, it's fascinating because this is, it's not at all meant to be a rack mount module. And there were rack mount Roland, even some that were rather similar in terms of capabilities, like the D110. Now that you get very... a selection of similar capabilities, LA synthesis and all that kind of stuff. And that's just built into a rack mount module, but that's only 1U in height. Whereas the MT-32 was meant to be just a desktop module that was a standalone thing you'd put next to a computer or MIDI keyboards or just whatever you were using it for. The thing is that with the front plastic panel, since it normally kind of slants backwards, when you put it flat like this, it makes it just a bit taller than 1U height. So I guess that's why they had to put it in a 2U thing here. It just feels like a ham-fisted approach all around. Like, oh, there was demand for getting an MT-32 in a rack mount thing, but you couldn't really make it work without redesigning the front panel. And I guess they just didn't want to do that. So they just stuck it in a 2U thing, so it takes up more space in your synth rack than would otherwise be necessary. Now, I have actually messed around with like putting an MT-32 in my synth rack, just like on a shelf, 1U high, and it kind of works if you take off the feet on the bottom and jam it in there to a degree, but you have to, again, because of the plastic bezel on the front, it's not quite right. It's not quite a perfect fit. So this is what they came up with. Otherwise, yeah, it really is just your normal MT-32 stuck in here. The only other thing on my particular unit here that's different is this volume knob. That is not, it's not right in any sense of the word. I'm assuming, well, I know for a fact now that I've looked at it, that the original just fell off, got lost, broken or something, and whoever had this last just stuck a random volume knob that's pretty close to the right size. However, the way it's keyed inside there, it does fit, but it's the opposite way around. So this is the lowest volume, but it's pointed that way. And that's the highest volume, but it's pointed that way. So, close, but not quite. So anyway, I don't know what that knob came from, but it's just been stuck on there. And that's what it's supposed to look like. So if I could find a replacement knob, you know, for this one, I mean, it comes off really easily. It's no surprise that it popped off of there and just got lost or something. Anyway, I like to find another one of those to put on here just because it would look a little better and then it would point the right direction. Because it is just pointing the wrong direction. Like, this is all the way down and it's pointing that way. It drives me nuts. Anyway, let's just go ahead and open this up really quick. And I don't know, why not, right? Again, though, all these sides, the metal is so chewed up. What did this thing go through? It's like it got beat back into place with a hammer. Yeah, these screws don't even want to fit right in there anymore. Oh, this poor thing. Used vintage audio equipment. Oh, the things these must have gone through. There's always a story. I don't know the story. I just found this from a random seller, but... Okay. Now the rubber feet are getting stuck. Alright. Well, that was not pleasant, but it works. So you can see that it really is just an MT-32 without the top part of the case. That's it. Still got the little slanted part of the metal there, so if you were to stick this back on there, you get the slanted front again. But yeah, they just took it out of place and then made it flat in front. I don't know if it's an ingenious solution or a terrible one. Either way, Roland, what in the world? Okay, people keep asking for a rack mount MT-32. Well, that's not really going to work unless we redo this, but we're not going to do that. So let's just jam it into some metal. That'll do. And that's what they did. Here is the rack mount metal housing on its own. So you have those little cutouts there that match the cutouts in the bottom of the plastic front. And then yeah, it just slides in there. That's it. That's all this is. There's nothing else. I was looking for actually just one of these on its own, but this is the thing that came up first, was, you know, the whole thing together. So again, I don't know if it was actually sold as a separate kit or if it was just something that Roland stuck the two together, like if they had a bunch of extra MT-32s and then just jammed them in these cases and sold them pre-assembled in a rack mount case. Don't know. If anybody knows, let me know. There's precious little information about this particular MT-32 SKU available online. I pretty much just find records that, oh yeah, it existed, but not many details. And I've also looked through like the Roland product catalogs. The ones that I've found don't show it. A lot of them show, you know, the MT-32 right alongside the aforementioned D110. And that makes sense. You know, that for the longest time, I thought that was the option if you wanted an MT-32-like thing in a rack mount form factor. But no, you have this. So yeah, I do have plans for this rack mount MT-32 because I'm thinking of doing kind of like a rack mount MIDI mountain. A MIDI rack mountain? I just thought of that. Okay. Well, anyway, something like that at some point in the future. I don't know. Because I've got a lot of other like proper half rack MIDI modules that are actually 1U high and not like 4 millimeters taller than that. So those will just go on shelves. And then this, it's unfortunately going to take up 2 spaces in the rack, but you know, still, I think that'll be fun because I've got like a rack mount power strip and a rack mount MIDI switcher, and then all of those other 1U things I can stick on shelves, and then the MT-32, which I really wanted in my MIDI Mountain 2.0, but I wanted to rack mount it and not just put it on a shelf. Anyway, this will let me do that. That's pretty much it for this blurb. If you want to hear demonstrations of what it sounds like, it's just an MT-32. I've done a video of that on the LGR main channel. But that's it for this video. Thanks for watching.